Okay.
Okay. Hi, hello, this is TheFingersHurt, and you are listening to episode 5 of The Gamers Craic, hosted by Donica and the ever so sexy Cheap Kills. Today we are going to talk about transitioning from console to PC, the late Jack Tramiel from Commodore International, and some other stuff that I can't remember. So, gentlemen, how are you?
Excellent. Thank you very much for the intro.
I
Oh, no,
You're
brilliant.
welcome.
It's traditional when you come on the podcast that our guest tells us their gaming history in one breath. So no cheating. You take one large inhale and then you bleat out all the
Okay.
consoles and games, things that you've played on as best you can remember in that time. So
Okay.
when you're
So, seriously, in one breath.
in one breath, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Do you want to count down and then I'll go?
Oh, yeah, that would be great.
Okay.
So, Danica, you can do the countdown.
all right. Three, two, one.
All right, I started at 8 with the game. Don't make me laugh. With the Game Boy Pocket, and then I bought a PlayStation 2, but my parents didn't want me to. So I started gaming seriously with my Xbox 360, where I played a lot of Gears of War. Then I went to Battlefield 1943. That's how I started with Battlefield. Then I went to Battlefield Bad Company 2. Then I went to Battlefield 3, and now no, I can't do it. And now I am on PC and I play a lot of Battlefield 3. That's it.
Well done.
There we go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I
I'm sure
think,
that was same as everybody else and it sort of
yeah.
cheating, but
It's
we
like,
will just gloss over that. So you started off on consoles, handheld, and then the normal sort of PlayStation 2 up to Xbox 360. So what made you go on to the PC?
Well, the main reason is for me Battlefield 3. Mainly because they said that it was going to be the main platform for Battlefield 3, which it wasn't in the end.
Yeah.
Well, not for me. And but still, I'm really happy about transitioning to PC. It's awesome to have all these games on Steam, and have all these sales. You can really get games for cheap, compared
Yep.
to console, and it's really bad for my social life. I'll tell you that.
it's
Uh,
very, very bad for your wallet too, even if they are cheap.
yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. And yeah, my hard drive is almost full actually.
Oh wow. Are you playing more Battlefield 3 now that you're on PC?
Yeah, it's kind of different. When I was on console, when I played, it was like I sat down and I played for 3 to 4 hours. And now that I'm on PC and I always work on PC, if be it for school or something, I can play a game once in a while. It doesn't have to be long. It can be 1 or 2 games, and then later on in the day, I'll play a couple of other games. And yeah, it's I definitely play more, but it's more varied and diversified.
Yeah, I think it's more, isn't the PC's more accessible?
Yeah,
Because you don't have to turn it on, it's on already.
yeah. That's why it's so dangerous.
Dangerous
Yeah.
gaming.
Yeah, I was alone for 1 week last week, and normally I go to bed at midnight, and there I went at to bed at 5 a.m. every single day.
Oh, that's bad
Wow.
for you in general, not just for your social life. Yeah, it's interesting you're talking about Steam sales. Just to point out, other gaming sales are available on there as well. Because Danica was um, linked earlier on about so who was it that was saying that they believe that Steam sales are bad for gaming?
It was CD Projekt, the, what's your man's name? Trevor Longo on Rock Paper Shotgun. He was just talking about goodoldgames.com,
Right.
and it's in his opinion, Steam sales are bad because when you get 75% off a game, you're not likely to buy you're not likely to buy other games at full price simply because chances are they're going to go on sale within a few months. Um, so the game's value the game has been devalued.
Right, but that's the same for everything that
but
comes out. When Endgame
yeah,
comes out, first of all, it's always full price. You always expect to pay about £40, £50 for a game, and then after 6 to 8 months later, you're expecting it to be cheaper at least, and then obviously there's going to
oh
be
yeah,
sales and stuff. So I'm not sure that I agree with that.
no. The only thing is, Good Old Games does usually sell. They do usually sell their games pretty cheaply. There's like $5.99 for everybody. So like, you don't get this crap where people in Europe pay more than people in the States. And that's actually like good old games have done, or GOG.com, which they're not calling Good Old Games anymore
I just
because they're selling new games too.
right,
Um, they actually do a lot of good stuff because they don't put deal or what's it called, DRM on their games, so it's just an exe that you install.
right.
But I don't know. I think like I know we're going to talk about some other indie games on the podcast, and if they hadn't been on sale, probably wouldn't have bought them.
Okay. So what do you
Yeah.
think of that,
So
Arno? How do you feel about the whole selling games cheap devalues games in general? What's your take on that?
Yeah, definitely. When you have like all these sales, you are less likely to buy a game at full price. Maybe you're even going to download it for free somewhere.
Wink, wink.
But I know that when I go on Steam, it's mostly just for sales, and when I buy a game, it's mostly a pre-order
Right.
of a game that I really want, but it's never going to be a game that's already came out 2 months ago. So yeah, but I have a question. The guy that said this, that claims that Steam sales are bad, is this the same guy that said that when they released The Witcher without DRM, they sold way more?
yeah, that's Good Old Games, CD Projekt. So they do The Witcher and Witcher 2, and yeah, there was DRM on The Witcher 2 when it was pre-ordered, but I think that was because of a contract they had with a distributor, I think possibly in Germany. And when the game was actually finally released, they took the DRM off it, and yes, it sold like hotcakes.
Right. So
Yeah.
the CD
Um,
Projekt, are they a developer or are they just a site that sells games?
oh, they were a developer
Right.
in Poland, but they also they sell old games,
Okay.
and obviously slightly new ones now. But the as part of their package on Good Old Games, they'll put DOSBox. They'll package up an old game so that it will run on a modern machine.
Right.
So a DOS game will have DOSBox installed or included, or an old Windows game, they'll make sure that it runs on, say, Windows 7 or maybe even Vista. But I know Steam don't do that, so you'll find that a lot of games on Steam that might be on Good Old Games,
Yeah.
they won't work. The Steam version won't work.
Right.
You
Okay.
know.
Yeah, the interesting thing you're saying about DRM possibly being contractual in Germany. Germany seems to be quite a hotbed for copyright issues, especially anybody who does YouTube videos. A lot of if you
Hi.
put music on them, they tend to be blocked in Germany
Oh yeah.
quite a lot, and there's nothing you can do about it. So Germany and copyright and DRM, is they seem to be a bit on a different planet. And which other country? Where's Delpede from? Is it Denmark? They've got a new copyright law thing, sort of like
Do they? Yeah.
yeah, like what's the SOPA that was coming in that everybody blocked? They've sort of adopted a version of that, I think it is. And
No, I think Spain did.
Spain, is it? I know.
Well, maybe Spain did as well.
Mm.
Maybe.
I know that Delpede's on about the filtering the internet and stuff like that as well. So lots of interesting things going on in the world of copyright.
Yeah, there's actually a soap already implemented in Denmark. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
you've just been
no,
googling
that's interesting. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Google.
by the power of Google.
I appear intelligent. Arno, have you bought Bad Company 2 on PC?
I have, and I think I played 1 hour, and that's it. I really don't like it on PC.
Oh, right. Oh,
I don't like it on
Yeah,
PC either.
yeah, that's
no, it feels kind of clunky,
Yeah,
like not as smooth as on console. Maybe it's because
yeah.
I'm so used to playing with a controller, And I'm going to say that the transition from Battlefield 3 on from console to PC is way smoother than Bad Company 2. I have no idea why.
I think it could be for me. Battlefield 3, the controls of it seem to be twitchier, more sort of Call of Duty esque, which lends itself more to keyboard and mouse. Because obviously, when you turn the controller analog sticks in Battlefield 3, you turn a lot quicker than you do in Bad Company 2. So when you switch over to the mouse and keyboard, you can do 360 no scope really quick with the mouse, which you can't do on the Bad Company 2. That's my take on it.
Oh yeah. Well, you can also modify the sensitivity on your mouse. Which is always handy.
Yeah.
But no, actually, I had quite a few hours put into Bad Company 2. I was quite amazed when I saw it. It's what was it? Even though it doesn't play very well on my machine, 46 hours apparently.
I got about
I don't know
3.
how the hell.
Did you play more on PC than on console?
Battlefield, Bad Company 2, definitely console.
Yeah, I got
playing with David and the other guys. We'll probably suppose, well, first of all on Xbox, then on PS3. But oh man, we spent probably a year playing that every night.
Yeah, I've got 2 PS3 accounts and 1 Xbox account, and got it on the PC as well. But yeah, it was level 30 odd on one account, level 20 odd on another on PS3, and 23, 24 on the Xbox. I got the Xbox really late when PSN was down last year, April, May time.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I got it on Xbox so that I could do some gaming while they got their shizzle together.
Well, that's not that much. It's you said level 30.
Oh yeah, no, I'm rubbish. So although I'm only a low level, there's a lot of hours gone in there.
No,
So.
I'm not criticizing. I'm level 20 something on PC, and then I see those guys that are like Eagle number 25 on Battlefield 3. I don't know if you know how that works.
There was an Eagle 100 on when I was on last night with Drunken Duncan. And won the game.
It's just crazy. I don't know how many hours they have actually put into the game, but it seems that they haven't done anything or haven't played anything else since Battlefield 3's release. I don't know how you guys think about spending your time on one and the same game all the time, but I couldn't do it, even though I love Battlefield 3.
Yeah, I've quite a short attention span, so I do like to chop and change between stuff quite often. So no, I couldn't play it continuously.
Well, I think, hey, remember in Battlefield Bad Company 2, we did manage to play that. I think I hardly played any other game for months on end, but Battlefield 3 certainly hasn't been the same way.
No.
I've actually kind of given up on it, really, to be honest. I played 2 games the other night, and I am going to buy a new PC, and Battlefield 3 is going on it, but I don't honestly know how much time I'll spend on it. It just doesn't. It doesn't grab me like the previous game does.
Yeah,
it's disappointing, quite disappointing.
Well, I had fun last night with Gav and Mike 100, but that's the first time, since it came out, really.
Yeah.
But should we move on to Jack Trammell?
Well, Jack Trammell was a Polish man who he formed Commodore Business Machines in Toronto in 1955, apparently, according to their Wikipedia page. No, sorry, I knew that off by heart. I'm just super smart. I don't use Google. And Commodore were selling typewriters for years and years and years, but then they got into making computers, and they created the Commodore PET, the VIC-20, Commodore 64, various other Commodore C16, the Plus 4, the Amiga, the CD32, various other things. All machines I'm sure Arno has never heard of, or mostly have never heard of.
Yes? I thought there was just one console. It was Commodore.
A console, they're computers, not consoles.
Yeah. So different again.
But, oh yeah. and he died last Sunday. While he was boss of Commodore, the company brought out the Commodore 64, which had a huge impact on my life, and it got me really interested in programming and doing multimedia stuff, and I was mad into that for several years. And it's actually kind of ironic now because I'm doing really high level languages rather than the low level stuff I did on that. Just after the Commodore came out in 1984, he was kicked out of Commodore because just over business issues. Apparently, he was good to work for, but he was a hard-nosed businessman. Anyway, Jack went off to he bought the consumer division of Atari off Warner Communications, and brought out the Atari ST, the Jaguar, all those other sorts of things.
The Jaguar was a
You know,
console, wasn't it?
Yeah,
there you go.
Jaguar was
There
a
you go.
console.
Arno.
Yes. So mid-90s.
Thank you.
And actually, it was kind of amazing that because the Atari ST and the Amiga were loggerheads
Yeah.
all through the early 90s. It was quite so. It's kind of he was an important guy in the early years of the modern computing age.
Just a quick backtrack on what you were saying there. For those of us who are not as technologically savvy as you are, what's the difference between high level and low level programming in 10 seconds?
Back in the day, you didn't have nice languages that would do half the work for you. You had to do all the work yourself. Basically, get a shovel and dig a hole, whereas nowadays you just have a digger, and the digger digs the hole for you.
Okay.
Basically.
So which was high level? What's the digger? Is that high level or low level?
The digger is the high level. But then again, these days the hole's so much bigger that there's no way you could have a shovel and do it by hand. You need all the middleware and all the help that you can get, just because programs are so much more complex and graphics are so much more better, and So back in the day, you used to code an assembler, and one person could create a whole game. They could draw the graphics, maybe do the sound, and program the whole lot. Just because you've limited graphics, you only had maybe 8 colors to work, maybe 64, but that was about it. And but nowadays, of course, you got 16 million colors and 1920 by 1200 resolution, and
Long live 8-bit.
yeah.
That was a long 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I just rambled.
Try doing
Okay,
that in
cut
one
that.
breath.
Yeah, maybe we should do that for now. Whenever there's any techie stuff,
Oh.
we're gonna say, "Danica, one breath."
It's sad to see him go, but at least he got to see he got to see the legacy of Commodore, which unfortunately turns out to be a Commodore PC with running a Commodore 64 emulator.
Yeah.
So for you guys, it's like one of the godfathers of gaming died.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the godfathers of possibly computing.
Yeah.
Now we're just waiting for Sir Clive Sinclair and Alan to kick the bucket, and that'll be a sad day as well.
Yeah.
That's for this, for the Specky and the Amstrad, for those who don't know.
Yeah. So I was Amstrad.
Yeah.
I didn't have a Commodore, but I was always slightly jealous of. I had a friend with a Commodore, and I don't know, it seemed like a nicer machine than the Amstrad. The Amstrad was good, but the Commodore just seemed to be a little bit sexier.
Yeah, that bread box. Oh yeah.
Actually, here's a question for Arno. How do you go about selecting what games you're going to buy for your PC? Obviously, there's going to be some that you'll pre-order that you're interested in from day one anyway, like certain series of games. But what about games that you just buy ad hoc that you have a look at and think, oh, we'll get that? How do you make your decisions on buying games?
Well, when I was younger, it was mostly with trailers and stuff. And now, most of the time, it's just because I already know the game. It's because it's a sequel of a game that I liked. And for example, Max Payne is one of those games, Max Payne 3. I'm really looking forward to that game. And that's purely because I really liked Max Payne 2. And I just realized now, actually, I barely buy any new original games. And So yes, I just realized that I never go for new original games anymore, but it's always sequels now. Even with Skyrim, it's a sequel.
Yeah.
Diablo, it's a sequel. It's they're all sequels, and yeah, I don't know what could convince me to buy another original game. Maybe a cool trailer, but still, it's not like it already has some value. I like something that you know that's going to be great, like a franchise. And yeah, maybe I'm getting older, but I really tend to go for those certain values that I already know, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, yeah. Better the
Yeah,
devil you
it
know, because you
does.
don't want to be wasting your money on a game that's that you don't know and it could possibly be crap.
I think that's quite a common sentiment.
Yep.
You
Yeah,
know, people will buy, people will buy a known IP rather than something new.
that's right.
Um,
And I
I
sorry to
sorry,
interject.
go on. Go.
I tend to buy the Assassin's Creed games. I mean, I had the first
Oh
one, and
yes.
I bought
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, and just I got Revelations at Christmas. And it's the thing is, they although I enjoy playing them, it's pretty much the same game each time.
Exactly. Yeah. Brotherhood and Revelations were actually not that good,
No,
but I'm still going to get Assassin's Creed 3 though.
I'm not. That's the one set in the American Civil War, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm the Revelations have sort of turned me off the whole series a little bit, so I'm probably not
Mhm.
gonna get that.
Just thought that when you're a kid and you don't know anything about gaming, you're like, "Oh my God, that's a cool cover." And then you're going to get that
Yeah.
game, and even if it's a shitty game, for me, for example, Star Wars Battlefront, that's one of those games that had like a really cool stormtrooper on the front, and I was like, "Oh my God, that has to be a good game." It's really cool looking, and for me, it was a great game. But I'm sure if I would to have tried it at my age now,
Yeah.
it would be really crappy, and I would just lay to the side and never go to it back again. But because it was something that was in my childhood and I really liked, I'm sure that I would get Star Wars Battlefront 3 just because it was something from my childhood.
Yeah.
And that's maybe why you always go for those values.
We know what you're saying about the cover being really good. Back in the days of retro 8-bit gaming, the Commodore and Amstrad and Spectrum, you'd see the games in the shops first of all and have a really cool cover, like you're saying, and then you
Yeah.
put the tape into the drive, into the cassette holder, and you press play and you type in a code to run it, and it would it would slowly draw a picture on the screen, right, which is a loading screen of this
Mm.
picture, and it'd be great. There might be dragons and ladies and stuff like that. You think, oh, this is gonna be amazing, and then the game starts. And you got this blocky sprite with really bad collision detection, and it's like, I've just wasted $3.99 on the worst game in the world.
I know.
So it's the same thing. I think the choices are still being made now in that sort of way, except because we've got things like YouTube and the
Yeah.
internet, we can actually see what games are like first, and we can see how they sound and how they look. So it's better in that way. So are you more likely to buy games now if you can see what they look like first and see how people's experience of them are, rather than just the
Mm.
box art?
Are you guys really influenced by what people say in reviews?
No,
Because I'm not.
no, I'm more interested in how the game looks and the gameplay mechanics.
Mhm.
I'm not
Yeah.
really bothered if somebody says, "Oh, it's really clunky and the collision detection is bad." You've got to go on the trust of what they're saying though. But most reviewers don't actually say stuff like that. You can tend to see it. But no, if somebody's doing a review and they say this is the best game that's ever been made, I'm thinking you're probably being paid by the developer.
IGN. IGN.
Well, what
Yeah.
I do is certainly for the Steam daily sales. The first place I go is look at our game deals on Reddit,
Right.
and
Mm.
there's generally, there's a thread there about the game. Plus, if you go into the store page for the game, go to the forum, and there's always a thread there. Is it worth it?
Right.
And obviously, there's people there that if it's a really crappy game, there's going to be people who have the game will say, no, don't buy it. Stay away. It's rubbish. But then other times you'll get mixed reviews. So you have to interpret it the way you want. I find that user reviews are pretty good. Going to the Steam forums and Reddit. So please, developers, don't go spamming those places. Please don't.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy to play a game that looks crappy if it plays well.
Oh yeah,
Definitely. I'd much rather a crappy looking game that's good to play and engaging rather than a beautiful game that is horrible. Especially, there's a lot of games that are very pretty, but they tend to be very much, sort of on rails. I like a bit of freedom in what I'm playing.
Says the guy that played video games on cassettes.
It didn't have any choice. And we had text-based adventures as well. Let me, with lots of options
true.
like North.
But you mean like Dungeons
door.
and Dragons kind of stuff?
Yeah, I had that sort of thing as well. Yeah, I didn't really have the patience for those sort of things though, because after I'd tried the option open door and it goes, you can't do that. Okay, use bar on door. You can't do that. Okay, quit the game.
It's like Skyrim for blind people.
Yeah.
Oh, what's the name of the woman you get in the house? I can't remember her name.
Lydia.
Lydia, yeah. Can you imagine the thing like, Lydia is eating your bread. Lydia is sitting down. And what's the name of the town to the northeast?
Windhelm?
No. The one.
Nah, no idea.
It's you get a nice big house there.
Oh, White
Oh,
Run.
it's
No, not that's where Lydia
on
is.
the hill, not the hill.
Oh, the Desolate or
Yeah.
Isolate or something.
Above where the docks are, where there's boats
yeah.
and shipping company. Up there, the big house in there. You get a woman.
Yummy.
I can't remember.
She's yummy.
And she every time I go in the house, she's like, "You better not be here starting trouble." I'm like, "It's my goddamn house. Get out!"
I haven't got that far.
across the room.
Actually, when you go into that town, are you supposed to save the guy who's getting beheaded?
No, I think you're just supposed to watch, because then when you go around later on, there's loads of.
No, you
dialogue.
can't go on the stairs. I tried.
Yeah, I tried saving him a couple of times, but thankfully I had saved the game first. So
I totally missed it when I went into that town. I didn't know what was going on. I just walked straight past, and then everybody's going, "Oh, it's terrible about the execution." I'm like, "What execution?" The execution, I missed it. Sorry, was it here?
Oh, dude. All that work, that poor animator's work down the drain.
And I've not even started up an old account to look at it again. So that was a waste of 30 quid.
Yeah. Well, hey, you got your values, or your money's worth out of that game. You were playing that for months on end.
Oh yeah, it's because it was either that or Battlefield 3.
Yeah, that's
How many
true.
hours have you guys spent on Skyrim?
Oh, I must be about 150 maybe. I don't
Nice.
top my head, but it is quite a lot.
39.
Have you actually finished the game?
No, I've done the main storyline, but I've not killed all the dragons and stuff.
Okay.
I should go back
Had
to
you
it.
done it?
I haven't, nowhere near finishing. I got to the embassy part and I got my ass kicked, so I had to go back to a previous save game. So don't go there just yet. Level up a bit, I wanted to talk about Titan Attacks. It's a game by puppygames.net.
Okay.
And I don't know, I don't know if you heard about this. Puppy Games was celebrated their first birthday last week, and if you typed the code into their order form while you were buying the game, you got the game for free. So it was one game per person, and I already have Revenge of the Titans, so I went for Titan Attacks, and it's a very, very, very cool Space Invaders clone.
Yeah, I'm liking the graphics on the page. I'm just looking at it now. It pleases me.
Yeah, it's really nice. The Ultratron is a paradroid I think, or is it Droid Assault?
Ultra
Oh yeah, yeah, wait,
Humanoid.
Droid Assault. Yeah, it's a Paradroid clone. But I never really liked Paradroid, so anyway, I got Titan Attacks. Very, very cool. You should give it a go because you can download a demo of it.
Okay, I'll
And
try that after.
yeah, I'm not sure. Is this if you can still use that code? What was it? Birthday Boy, I think was the code. But it was very, very nice work, and you get a Steam key as well. You know.
Excellent.
So that was a really nice game. Actually, the other remake of an ancient game was a game called Shatter, and that's been on Steam for quite a while. Titan Attack is actually pretty. It's a new one. It was released at the start of March, but Shatter has been out in Steam for quite a while, and it's a Breakout clone. But the graphics are just absolutely amazing. Arno, you're I hope familiar with Grip Breakout, Arkanoid type games.
No.
Oh no!
What about Wall Breaker? I mean, they're on lots of
The
apps
bat
and
and ball
stuff
game.
now. So you've got
You mean like those games where you just have to bounce the ball and then you break something?
yeah,
That's
yeah.
it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But in Shatter, it's they've added so much more to it. If you use RMB or LMB, you can attract the ball or fire it away from you. So you can adjust the path of the ball as it goes around the place. You get multipliers, you get power ups. You're fighting bad guys. It's gorgeous looking. Have a look. It's on Steam, so have a look at Shatter. I'm sure we'll probably put a link to the game in the post for this podcast if we remember it.
There'll be links there.
Just ping us on Twitter. And so those are two really cool remakes of retro games, which I have really liked. Inspiration actually for trying to do my own games if I ever get off my ass and do it.
Yeah.
Oh yes, the other game that we used to love. Have you ever? Arno, have you ever played Monday Night Combat?
I remember that game. That was like 1.5 years ago that it came out,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It was like
Actually, it was on
third
Xbox too.
person. Yeah, I remember that. I saw a couple of videos on YouTube, but it didn't really appeal to me. I would much rather play Team Fortress 2 because it was like the same style.
Yeah, it was like that, but more easy mode.
Yeah.
Team Fortress 2 for noobs.
I know. I really wanted to like this game, but no, it's just didn't. I don't know. There was something missing. Well, they're beta testing a free to play version called Super Monday Night Combat, and there's a thread on Reddit giving out a free code actually to get into the beta. But it looks like it's follows the path of other free to play games where you either grind for ages to get small incremental upgrades, or you pay a couple of dollars and you get the upgrade.
Same.
So
developers, if
sucks.
you're listening, please don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't devalue your franchise. That's the way to do it. Yes, Zynga Games have made billions doing that sort of crap, but please don't make the rest of us do that sort of shit. It's not social gaming.
Yeah. Do the TF2 way and sell hats.
Yeah, hats is the way of the future.
Yeah. But they with TF2, they've made 12 times as much money, something like that, something crazy. Since they went free to play, just because people are buying the hats and I don't know, upgrades, but it's still a really good game.
Yeah, the thing is, I mean, with Team Fortress 2, you can pick up all the stuff randomly anyway. So it's not like you're grinding for XP and that sort of thing. That's just frustrating. And not everybody's got the time to grind away for hours and hours and hours just to get, an incremental damage multiplier or something.
Yep.
And I'm not prepared to pay.
EA have their own Battlefield free to play as well. Which the name of which escapes me right now.
It was Battlefield free to play, I think.
Oh, right.
Well, they're doing the same thing with Battlefield 3 now with kit shortcuts.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But they brought
just crazy. I really don't like their strategy.
Yeah, they brought that out with
really expensive.
Yeah, Bad Company 2 when Vietnam came out. They did the shortcut then on that update, and I blogged quite vehemently about it, how it was basically well, I'm pretty sure I said something along the lines of it's paying to cheat because you get an advantage
Yes.
over somebody who's not happily playing the game at the time through the normal time scale and unlocking things generally, and then you come up against somebody who's literally bought the game and they've got the AN-94 and Magnum ammo, the M60 Magnum ammo.
Yeah,
So,
but do you remember? Even though you might, the only thing is, right, you may have all those weapons, but still, you're you're not going to have an advantage over people who actually have the skill to play it.
right.
You
You know,
can't
so
buy the skills, man.
Can't buy
exactly.
experience, you can only buy weapons.
But then
Exactly.
again, it possibly doesn't take too long to actually,
Learn a map.
get those skills.
Mm.
Yeah, so
Yeah, it takes a lot less time to learn a map than it does to level up enough to have on Bad Company 2 it was level 15 for Magnum ammo. So
yeah.
it doesn't take that amount of time to learn how the map layout. So I'd disagree with that. That's pretty much it for this episode of The Gamers Craic. Like, thank Arno very much for coming along. I hope it wasn't too much of a trial for you.
No, it was really awesome talking to you guys, and it was my pleasure to be on here.
Excellent. Thank you very much for coming along. So thank you all for listening, and tune in next year for the next episode of the Grey. Whatever we're called. What are we called? The Gamers Craic.
The Gamers Craic. Yes.
There we go. So tune in next year for the next episode of the Gamers Craic with me, Miss Cheap Kills, Danica, and another mystery guest who we will have on the show.
This were Donica, Cheap Kills, and TheFingersHurt, and all I have to say is goodbye. Man, you're making me nervous.
I'm not even touching you.
Oh my god.